All right. Welcome into Reading Between the Wines. Wine Wednesday, Wine Down Wednesday. We're gonna have a good show tonight. This wine is gonna do something real good tonight. I already know just by taking a little sip of it. We are sampling tonight Valesano Harmony Peach Pinot Grigio. So from Valesano Winery, straight up right here from New Jersey. We have peach Pinot Grigio. So there you have it. And the bottle actually shows up pretty well. I don't have to do any extra tricks to show y'all this good bottle of wine. We also have very special guest author P.L. Stewart coming in the building tonight. So wind down with me a glass, grab your bottle, whatever you got going on here, and come right on inside, reading between the wines. Like, share, tag your friends, bring them on in because you never know what you're going to get out of this show tonight. Valesano Harmony Peach Pinot Grigio, a harmonious blend of fresh peaches and Pinot Grigio grapes. Our peach Pinot Grigio harmonizes the sweetness of fresh peaches with the dry, zesty flavor of Pinot Grigio. This unique flavor is best paired with fish, vegetables, and lighter meals, keeping the garden state green and growing. From generating a portion of our own electricity to unmatched composition and recycling programs to sourcing local grapes and fruits, Valesano proudly nurtures our passion. I thought that this was very interesting off of this bottle here. 1% of people are happy being unhappy. That is just so true. You ever get around somebody that's just happy to be miserable? They ain't happy until they're miserable, basically. I know that. I know that person. I used to be that person. 1% of people are happy being unhappy. For the other 99%, we offer a customer satisfaction guarantee. So if the wine ain't up to your standards and you don't like it, just know that anything from Valesano Winery, you can go ahead and get your refund. Now, the question I have is how many people drink half of the bottle of wine and then go there and say that it's no good and get a refund? So welcome on into Reading Between the Wines. If you are on Facebook, I want to say thank you so much for the love and support. Instagram family, I appreciate you. Continue to like, comment, and share. Twitter, you can also experience something different by checking me out on YouTube at Laren Gaines. You can get small clips of the show on TikTok, Daily Motion, and I'm also on D Live and Twitch as well. Everything at Laren Gaines. So I've been stumbling over this song for a while because I used to hear it all the time when I was, working in retail. And I just like the way the woman sings it, Ingrid Michaelson. The song is Celebrate. And it was just this upbeat, positive song about basically celebrating. And when I think about celebrating and I think about album title, it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody except for you. If you celebrate and you celebrate whatever you want to celebrate, and I'm celebrating that fact that I'm actually still here doing what I like to do, and there's some movement, there's some growth, so there's definitely a lot to celebrate because when I think about where I've been so far in 2022, which on the outside everything looks wonderful, and I'm not saying that I'm not pleased, but at the end of the day, it's that behind the scenes stuff that people have no idea. And so many people don't want me to continue to push play each and every night. And so many people have done so many different things to try to stop this force. But I know where I come from. And I know there's a level of protection that is over all of this situation that I got going here right now. So I have to be thankful and I have to celebrate. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a question out there for you after all that you've been through in your life. At the end of the day, sometimes you just want to celebrate and be happy with who you are and what you have going on. So what are you celebrating tonight? With that, I want to celebrate each and every one of you for joining and supporting Reading Between the Wines and a 4-in-1 podcast. My guest last night, Jaquita, she came through and she told her story. If I didn't hear anything, I heard her loud and clear, and I was shocked at some of the stuff that she was saying. But she did share her story, and I know that last night's episode definitely is going to help somebody. So please go ahead and support, like, comment, share it. Share it because you never know who's going to get it. I want to say very special thank you to Jaquita for coming through last night. Y'all go ahead and check her out on Instagram, Jaquita Zachary Johnson. She is also on Facebook as well. And Jolie Soul Sense is coming through this week, so stay tuned. This will be the second time around that Jolie Soul Sense comes on the 411 podcast, so it's coming up real soon, so stay tuned. Jessica Jones, I want to say thank you so much. Simply Unique LLC. Elnora Brown, thank you for coming through all the way from India. Dr. Sharita Madas, thank you for continuously supporting. She had a great show as well on 411 podcast. Please go ahead and check that out as well. Switch Boutique, aka Switch Clothing Company, thank you for supporting. Jason T. Davis, all the way from California, LA. Desiree Covington, thank you for supporting as well. My sister from, I think you're from South Carolina. Don't quote me on anything. YRE Hair Growth. And I want to say thank you to Felix for supporting the show as well. Now we're going to go ahead and rewind this thing. Yesterday, I said a lot. My guest said a lot. Have you ever been insecure? And what's the difference from now versus back then? And I've had some levels of insecurity all of my life. But as I thought about it today, I said what I said yesterday. So if you want to find out what I said, go ahead and watch that replay from last night and you'll hear me talk about my insecurities. And once you finally get something that you don't think that you deserved, and then now you want to go and put it in high gear trying to protect it. And then that's when all of your ugly comes out and everybody sees all of your insecurities. But what I've realized today is what the biggest difference is that what I've realized is that if it's not for me, it's not for me. I could want you as much as my little heart could want you, just as much as I possibly can. But what I've learned today is at the end of the day, I don't need to be scared about anything because everything is already written. My steps are already ordered. So if you are not the person for me and you end up walking away, playing games, doing whatever, I'm so good today. That's the biggest difference. I've realized that is one of the biggest differences, that I'm no longer afraid that I'm going to lose something. If anything, my prayer is, God, please take them away now. Take them away immediately so that I know that I'm not making a mistake. Before it was, oh, God, please don't let them leave me. Oh, I don't want to do this. I never want to live without you. You know, I'm walking around playing, old Mary J. Blige records. But today I'm like so good. Like, you know what? Listen, if you are not for me, I'm so good. Leave immediately. I know how to control my heart versus my mind. So I'm not going to let you get me all twisted and effed up in a situation to where I'm running around here with my heart. That whole thing, trust your heart. I was talking to, one of my closest family members when I was on vacation about trusting your mind versus, see, I got it jacked up. Trusting your heart. Now I've really got it jacked up again, and this wine ain't even doing anything. Trusting your heart versus your mind. I had to get it right with the hand coordination, but be very careful. I wish you would tell me go with your heart. Hell out of here, I got to keep my check because my heart will do some stupid stuff and have me making some dumb mistakes. If anything, I got to nurture and make sure my mind is so secure and so on point so that I don't make a mistake, because the heart sometimes can be very tricky. It's the most wickedest part of your body. Read it. It's out there. It's in the book. Check it out. Be very careful with that heart. That heart will make you do some stupid things. So be very careful when people say go with your heart and go with the flow and trust your heart and this and that. Yeah, you trust your heart if you want to, and you have yourself in some bad situations. You need to make sure that your mind is on point first before you go trusting anything. Make sure you get your mind secure and you'll be on point. So have you ever been insecure? And what is the difference from back then versus now? And hey, it is what it is. What's going on, G? Thank you for joining in on the Reading Between the Wine show tonight. So after you realize, all right, back then versus now, there's been some growth. Now we want to go ahead and take some inventory over your mental clarity, because I said that the mind is the most powerful thing of your body, and you want to make sure you nurture that. A lot of people ask me, why do you wear the head wraps? It's because I'm protecting my mind. Because again, this is the most powerful piece of my body. Why would I just leave myself exposed out in the streets and let anybody just get into my mental and run amok in my world. Nobody gets to rent any type of space up in my mind except for me these days. I control all of that up there. All of the real estate I have control over. Before, I never had that type of control. So when it comes to mental clarity and your mental state, have you taken some time to do a little bit of inventory? And you have to do that every now and then, because if you think that you got it all good and you know all the answers and you're 100%, I'm staying far away from people like that, because once you realize that every single day is a lesson to be learned, you know better. That person that has that pride. I make sure I get my mental clarity on point to make sure that I don't ever walk around with too much pride, because I know better than that. What goes up must come down. You can be hot today and go tomorrow. Arrogance. That's another thing. I try to stay far away from all of that. People who have so much arrogance, I've dealt with it for so many years that today I run from it. I don't deal with that. One thing that really I need to make sure that I got inventory, and I try to delete is that spirit of fear. Because I ain't worried about any type of thing coming against me, attacking me, hurting me, doing anything, losing anything. Because like I said, if it's not for me, remove it immediately. That's one of my prayers today. Remove this object, remove this person, remove this situation immediately, so that I can have some mental clarity and stay focused and know where I'm at. So the spirit of fear is one thing that I have to do good inventory control and make sure that we don't have any of that lurking around here, popping up, showing up. And then unforgiveness. Fear and unforgiveness. I say those are some of the two that are rough, because you ever walk around and you start to reminisce and you go back in a day and you wish that you said this to this person, or you wish you did that. It's only human for us to think like that, and sometimes people want to seek revenge, and people wish that they could have said this and wish that they could have said that, and that's not having a spirit of forgiveness. That's having a spirit of unforgiveness. So I got to make sure I take away all of the unforgiveness, and I'm trying to forgive each and every person who has ever done any type of wrong in my life, because without you doing the things that you've done, I would have never been exactly who I am here today. And I've met some beautiful people during this process, some amazing people during this process. And the minute that I try to think that, I wish that I can get back at this person, or I wish that I had said this, or I wish that this ill will type of situation comes upon them, I'm wiping off every single thing and all of the hard work that we have created here on Reading Between the Wines and a 4-1 podcast. And that is absolutely, I know people laugh at what I say, but in my world, that is absolutely incorrect. We ain't the type of stuff. So have you taken inventory over your mental state of being, your mental clarity, to make sure that you're on point and that you ain't out here making any mistakes, having pride, having arrogance, having fear, having doubt, all of the things that we know better? Let's see what Mr. P.L. Stewart has to say tonight.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
How you doing, Lauren? Good to hear you.
I'm good. You can hear me loud and clear tonight?
Yes, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
That's good. Welcome to Reading Between the Wines.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. A real pleasure.
Yeah, we're going to have a really good show tonight. I have a good feeling that there's going to be some good vibes that come out of here. So,
absolutely nothing but good vibes, my friend.
So I have a couple questions. Are you sipping on anything tonight?
Yes. Well, that would be Mount Game rum, and that is the Barbados, where my mother is from. That is one of the oldest rums in the world, and one of the best, in my opinion. And neat.
I don't do the rum, but I feel you. I would like to try it one day, but I don't do it too much. All right.
Oh man, you're missing out, my friend. You're missing out. You come my way, and I'll introduce you to that. You won't regret it.
Okay. So the next question is, where are you calling from?
I am in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, which is approximately 4 hours west of Toronto, the Big Smoke, Toronto, where I grew up, which is famous city, of The Weeknd and Drake and Justin Bieber and a lot of popular musicians and a lot of great writers. So but I'm 4 hours west of there, right on the border of Detroit. So that's where Windsor is. It's right across the river from Detroit.
Okay, so now I know that my next question I already know better than this. It's cold, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's whatever the climate is in Detroit, that's the climate in Windsor. So right now it's quite hot, it's quite warm. It's summer, so just like in Detroit, we have basically the same weather, but the winters are cold, right? But the summers are hot, man, hot and humid, and from June, July, and August, they're steaming. So.
Well, good, because if I ever visit that area, that's the time that I'm going. Because I know you said that the winters are cold. That's absolutely an understatement. I want to tell you that that's an understatement. Coming from someone like me, who can't stand any type of cold weather at all, that is an understatement.
Wait a minute, like New York, New Jersey, it's like the same climate, man. It's cold, right, in the winter.
Oh, I know. I want no parts of it. I'm trying to escape every chance I get. I know better. But this is not for me. I'm trying to escape every chance I get.
I hear you, brother. I plan to retire 6 months in Barbados and then come up here for the warm time. So I feel you.
Okay, so you just go back and forth?
That's my plan when I retire.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When we fast forward this thing, and if we could think and manifest some things in the future, I feel you on that. Soon as Halloween comes, I might stick around for Thanksgiving, but after that, I'm the hell out of here. I'll tell you that much. I'll see you in June. Other than that, I'm out. So I get you.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
I could deal with a little bit of fall here, but after Halloween, I'd be quite surprised if I make it to Thanksgiving around here. But all right.
Yeah.
So you are an author. You have a book series. How long have you been writing?
Well, I have been writing since I was but I published very late in life, in my early 50s, which I am now. I have 2 books out. The first one I published last year. The second one I published this year. So, it took me a while to get going, but, better late than never. I've been writing, for magazines and things like that, like community publications and, volunteer publications and little pieces that various jobs and like their newsletters and things like that. And, but no, this finally got together and published a couple of novels, and hopefully, God willing, then more to come.
What do you think stopped you from publishing? If you have been writing since you were a little kid, what do you think stopped you?
Well, a few things. One, a busy life, busy career, busy family life, lots of wonderful kids and family, now is, we're at that empty nest stage. And, actually it's funny, my youngest daughter is up here spending a couple of days with me. I just dropped her back today, and she's the last one. She's going to university in the fall. And between my wife and I, we have 7 kids between the 2 of us. So, wow. She's the youngest, and she's going off to university. So we're empty nesters, man. So lots more time to write.
That'll do it. I mean, 7 kids will do it. I respect people who stop and take care of their family first, because, back in the day when I was younger, I had it in my mind that I was going to be in the entertainment business. And, it take money to do some of the things that, some of the entertainers do. And I realized, wow, you got a family. You got to do the right thing by your family. And that's it. Now, what I don't respect is people who have families and they still try to be that entertainer and they still try to be that person, but they neglect their household and they do some stupid things. I actually experienced that too. So I've experienced both sides of it. So I respect the person that, does what they're supposed to do and take care of their responsibilities, and it's all on God's timing, which I've learned. So you can't get jealous, you can't get upset because the next person is doing it, because remember that whatever you do in secret, you get rewarded in public. So it's just all on God's timing. It's at least what I, from my experience.
And that's some wisdom right there, man. That's some wisdom right there. And I'm sorry you had to see both sides, but obviously you've turned out very well, despite that. So kudos to you. No, so.
Well, thank you very much. We go deep here, so I don't know how deep you want to go tonight, but this is what happens on these shows. I don't know how it happens. It's just that's just my being. That's what happens. I sort of pull it out of people. So you don't have, you can't run now. We already live and running. So sip a.
That's all good, brother. I'm an open book, man. I'm pretty well open book, you know. So yeah, I'm open to talk about whatever. So.
All right, so let's get into the titles of your books. So the book series that you have.
So the book series that I have right now is called The Drowned Kingdom Saga. It's going to be a 7-book series. The first 2 books, as I said, are published. The first one, published last year in February, was called The Drowned Kingdom. And then the second book, published in March of this year, is called The Last of the Atlanteans. So book 2. So that's where we are right now in the series.
So the first book, can you sort of give us a brief overview without telling us too much?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's partly the book and the whole series is probably based on my version, partly on my version of Plato's Atlantis. So, it is about, with my version of Atlantis, it's not a spoiler to say that it sinks, but it's more about what happens after. I mean, I do discuss the drowning, what I call the drowning or the sinking or the catastrophe or cataclysm that happened, but then it's really following the survivors, because in my version there are survivors, and they flee to another continent, and they're led by a prince, one of the members of the ruling house of the Atlanteans, and he is a very controversial figure. He's very flawed. He's very bigoted. He's bigoted, racist, homophobic, intolerant towards other religions. He has some redeeming qualities, but overall he's pretty messed up. However, he is the leader. He's the leader they have, and so he lands in this continent. And his plan, despite the fact that essentially he and his people are refugees, is to take over this continent and impose his religion on this continent. He sees that in his mind, any other religion other than his is like pagan, idolatry, and he plans to conquer, take over, and rule everything. But of course, the people in this continent don't want that, so that's going to lead to some conflict. So that's essentially what the first book is about, and basically the series is going to be about his attempt to rise to power in this continent.
I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I've seen this before. You sure you're not writing about what's going on in reality?
Well, it's funny. A lot of the topics I think that are explored, unfortunately, are still they're very reflective of things that are happening regrettably today and in today's world, which is we all know that. But at the same time, my book is fantasy. There's some dark themes, and it's pretty, there's some dark moments, but hopefully there's some element of hope there. But it's all about, can this character change? Can he evolve? Can he see differently? Can he still, be a person of faith, but yet appreciate other faiths? Can he appreciate other people and their way of life? Can he, rid himself of some of these views? To what extent can he change? Like, is it like going to be wholesale change? Is it going to be bit by bit? Is it going to be get to a stop? Is he going to survive? Because it's not going to be easy for him to survive. His people survive. So there's a lot of elements of a fight for survival in there, and a self discovery. So yeah.
Mm. Now, of course, you can't tell us that because that's going to be too much. What's going on, Sophie Davis? Thank you for joining all the way from the UK. I appreciate you for supporting. Of course, you can't tell us, but I would think that the main character does see a different side. I don't know, but I would think that he does. Um, if there's one thing out of the, I would say, bad traits that he has, what is one thing that you are passionate about in real life today? Like supporting
Well,
wise.
I'd say all of them. I mean, he, as I said, he is racist, bigoted towards people from the LGBT plus communities. He is intolerant of other religions. So those are all things that I'm very passionate about in terms of, I strongly disagree or denounce with that sort of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've seen unfortunately too much of it in my life. I mean, I'm middle aged. I'm a middle aged black man, so I've been around and seen a bit. I work in my real job.
Mm-hmm.
I work in law enforcement, and so I've seen a few things in my life. So I am passionate about those things, and if you want to call them causes, but I don't consider them causes. I mean, you're talking about people being able to live in the world and exist, free of persecution from these things, and we have such a long way to go as a human race. We've grappled with these things for centuries, right? And
Exactly.
we're trying to find our way. So, those are things that I am passionate about.
You know what's so disturbing is that I remove myself from a lot of the stuff that goes on in the world today because hell, it's hard enough just being yourself and being good with yourself. Why put extra things on your mental that is not necessary? And that's just my own thought. I don't get involved in it. I don't allow any news media outlets to instill fear in me. I had enough of that for so many years of doing it on my own. I don't need help from anybody else or any other outside sources. But one thing that just cracks me up now that I remove myself from it, for almost 2 years now. I don't watch any news. I don't get into any of that stuff. But as I remove myself from it and I look at people who are engaged in it and are in it, I'm like, you guys need to wake up. You don't see that we've been doing this stuff for years and decades and centuries? Have you opened up a book? Can you see that some of this stuff that happened back in the day is resurfacing today? And it's so funny, like, oh, this type of situation is coming around again. That stopped, and we haven't seen that for over 20 years, and now it resurfaced again. Like, hello? But anyway.
Yeah, I always say that if one of the people that I feel is iconic is Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I always wonder if he were alive today, if he were to come back
Mm-hmm.
today, and he would see the world as it is, how he would feel. Would he feel that okay, there's been some progress or headway, but not enough? Would he say that we've regressed? Would he say that like what would someone like him think? Someone who was at the vanguard of the civil rights, right? What would he say? So and I totally feel you. I totally understand, Darren, why you disconnect yourself from media and all that. And yeah, and obviously you don't need to watch any news broadcast to see what's going on around you, right? You just need to
Right.
get up and go out in the world, and it's quite evident, right? And well, I definitely feel though that we need books that um, are set in worlds where, for example, none of this stuff exists anymore, and we've progressed past this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we also need books, I think, that remind us where we are today, and that we don't forget about the challenges that we're facing and that we're struggling with, because we live in a world where people are suffering, and books are being banned and burned, and all kinds of things are going on, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
These movements in the 21st century, whether it be Me Too or Black Lives Matter, they didn't come out of thin air.
No,
they're there for a reason. So, I think I'm just using those two as an example, right? Like we need to remember that we're still struggling with a lot of things as a human race. We're doing some things right, but there's a lot of things we still need to work on.
Yeah. Now, I feel you on that, and I like to bring a little bit of humor to the situation every now and then. And I just thought back, and I've had this conversation before. What if, Martin Luther King came back? What would he think? Or, Malcolm X, or a lot of the civil rights leaders. I would think that now, if I was him and I came back, I'd be like, oh, hell no. Oh, y'all want to be out in the street cutting up? All right, I got you. He coming back, cussing, spitting, fighting. I know he was all about peace. But if he saw the shit that was going on in this world today, I think that you'd see a different side of him. After all of the work that I've done, that's how I would be. After all of the work and stuff that I put, y'all can't get it together. Oh, I'm fighting people. I'm fighting every last one of y'all that come across me that ain't right. But that's what I would think. But serious. Now, let's get into the second book.
Mm-hmm. Well, the second book, The Atlanteans, that picks up actually directly where the first book left off. It kind of, took a little chance, and you know writing rules, things you learn in school, like, never end the book on a cliffhanger. Well, I did the first book, so I left the first book a bit of a cliffhanger, and the second book picks up where that left off, and so where it left off was the main character is in a bit of a pickle.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to go do somewhat of an undercover mission with some of his best peeps, and they have to. It's really dangerous, and there's not a high chance of success, but he undergoes this mission because he's still hoping to get himself a kingdom out of it. So that's what the book is predominantly about, and as he continues to learn more about this new continent and have his eyes open a bit, he also learns a bit more about his past, and he learns a bit more about his place in the world, which is he's coming from a place of privilege, and so a little bit more of what the cost of that privilege has been for others. So that's what the second book is about. A lot more action in the second book. A lot of battles. As he goes on his mission, but a lot of hopefully compelling drama and character work too along with it.
Interesting that you said cost, because nothing in life and nothing in this world is free. You're gonna have to pay one way or the other. Whether you pay financially, whether you pay spiritually, which I know that's real deep, whether you pay emotionally. You're going to pay one way or the other. So if anybody walks around thinking that something is free, there ain't nothing in this world that is free. You're going to pay one way or the other. That's real.
You're right. That's right.
I don't mean to take it there, but it's just reality for me. Once you realize and you wake up and you realize that, it's a cost in everything that you do and every interaction that you have with every single person that you come across with. So, let us know the name of the books again, where we can follow you at on social media, if you have a website where everyone can, purchase your books at.
Well, I appreciate that. So again, the series is the Drowned Kingdom Saga. Book 1 is Drowned Kingdom. Book 2 is The Last of the Atlanteans. You can buy them on Amazon. Obviously, all the Ingram platforms, Barnes and Nobles, anything where Ingram sells books. You can get them off of Friesen Press, which is my indie publisher. You can also, if you want signed copies, you can reach out to me directly. I am on most of the major social media platforms. For TikTok, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I'm not on there as much. I am on there. Like, I do have somewhat of a presence, but Twitter is really where I lurk. I like to roam on Twitter. Twitter is my preferred platform. So DMs are open for, business related stuff. If you want to reach out, so yeah, Twitter is probably the best place to get hold of me. Website as well. You can message me through my website, www.plstrip.com, and I'll give you more information on the book series and what's coming next. Because I am working on book number 3, that's called Morning King, and I expect that to be released in the spring of 2023.
Awesome. A lot of people are intimidated by Twitter. Whenever I ask them about Twitter, I think you're like one of the first people who come on and really embrace Twitter. So a lot of people are so intimidated by that. So that's very good. And what's your handle name for Twitter again?
My Twitter is at PL Stewart, one word. So at PL Stewart Writes. Okay. That's my Twitter handle. Twitter is great, man. It's interactive, and you know what, man? Your characters are limited, so you kind of gotta get your point across. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love the writing community there. It's so supportive. So like Twitter has a bad rap for some section of Twitter being kind of toxic, but overall, I think the writing community on Twitter is really like a positive space. So
I'll tell you, I gotta be careful because I come across some things on Twitter. Like I remember I told you I removed myself from the news and stuff, but it finds its way on social media. I'm like, now why is this here? I don't want this. So I gotta watch who you interact with because that stuff will start to show up in weird areas. But I feel you on that. All right, so new book coming out in next year, basically. So any other things that you're working on, or it's just strictly the books?
Yeah, book 3 is coming out, but I do some other things. Like for example, I so admire you and the work you do here, Laren, on podcast. Is awesome stuff. I don't have a YouTube channel or a podcast per se, but I do co-host with an amazing guy, well, 2 amazing people, Steve Talks Books and Taylor from Maybe to the Pages. They're booktubers, and we do a regular podcast where we interview creatives in the community. We interview, booktubers, authors. Love to have you on the show one day.
Thank you.
Larry. So open invitation there. So we do features on them, and it's just informal. We just chat. We just line. We just talk for an hour or so, just about whatever, right? No format, no real structure. We just chat. We chat about whatever comes up. Mm-hmm. So so that's Page Chewing. Check that on YouTube on Steve Talks Books channels or Maybe the Pages channels and see all the episodes. We got about 25 episodes so far. We're doing it for about half a year, but
now I want to make sure I got it because I'm going to follow you after. Now, what is it called again?
On YouTube? It's called, the best thing to do is follow Steve Talks Books and follow Made Between the Pages, and you'll see that they have different streams for their content. Mm-hmm. So look for the one that says Page Chewing. So that's the name of the show. And okay. we interview different people in the writing community. So lots of fun. Lots of laughs, lots of fun. So.
Sounds good. Everyone, we have P.L. Stewart calling all the way from Canada, so that's good. I think it's been about a year since we spoke to someone from Canada, so thank you so much for coming on, especially that part as well. What part is it again?
Yeah, so I'm calling from Windsor, Ontario. Don't anybody be scared that it's a big bad north. It's right across from Detroit. So the weather's similar. We got hot summers. Yeah, we have cold winters, but if you're anywhere in the East Coast of the United States, it's that kind of along north of basically anything in the north part, like New Jersey, New York. It's that kind of weather, man. Right? Connecticut is that kind of weather. Got some nice summers and some cold winters, but check out Canada. It's beautiful. It's a great place to live. So come out and check it out. Caravana, it just passed in August. It's a really popular event, especially for people of color and all people. But yeah, definitely a great Caribbean festival. It happens here in Canada and packed. A lot of people from that comes up. So yeah, check check out Canada.
Sounds good. Sounds real good. All right. So now we're getting ready to get into burning questions, which is a segment of the show where I basically flip it and put my guest in a hot seat. You give your opinion, and I give mine, and we'll see where we go from there. People out there, if you're watching, I just want to say thank you so much. Please go ahead and drop it in the comments and let us know what you feel about the question that we're getting ready to ask tonight. I want to say a very special thank you to my D Live family. Thank you for coming on tonight. And I see Sophisticated Sense out there on Instagram. Thank you for joining as well. All right. Burning question. When was the last time that you ignored some good advice? And were there any repercussions behind it?
Well, I'd have to say, all writing advice. Spoke to you a little bit earlier, Larry, about that whole thing you hear about. Oh, as a writer, don't end your book on a cliffhanger. Well, another one that I had from a lot of people, a lot of feedback. Not a lot, but there was some. Was a lot of other writers. They weren't fans of first person. Some first person narrative. Some were, but one were like, oh, first person. A lot of people don't like that standpoint, that viewpoint. I was like, yeah, but it just suits my tale. It suits my book. You're getting this person's head, so it needs to be first person. So I took it, and I think overall it worked really well. Obviously not every book is for everybody. My book certainly isn't. Some people love it, some people like it. That's okay. But it's first person narrative, and it really brings you inside this character's messed up head. And some of the things he says is really tough to hear, right? So that first person only accentuates that. So, but I did it. I think it was a good piece of advice because it was very well intentioned, and people were trying to, they wanted me to succeed. But again, I had to write the book my way, so I made it first person as opposed to third or something like that, right? So, and I think it worked well.
Well, see that's the thing. So you ignored that advice, but it actually worked out in your favor. So,
Yeah, and you know what? It doesn't mean that the book is perfect. It doesn't mean that it couldn't have been written in third person. But that was the right decision for me. And when you're a writer, whether you're a podcaster, whatever you're doing, there's certain things you're going to do that you have to go with your gut instincts or follow your heart or whatever way you want to put that. You're going to have to do things a certain way because ultimately it falls on you, right? So yeah, that's what you got to do, man.
You know what I like about it is because I asked you the question of when was the last time you ignored good advice. You didn't turn it around and say that it was bad advice because listen, whatever advice that you give me, that's your opinion. And that's just your opinion, and you have to respect everybody's opinion. And some people will give unsolicited advice that I didn't ask you nothing. I actually wrote something about that in my book, like be careful of people who offer unsolicited advice or driving directions because most of the people that are offering, driving instructions and, routes for you to get to where you need to get to in life, half of those people don't even know where they're at and they're drowning. They don't even have their GPS coordinates correct. But I love how you did not flip it like I did because, I'm just telling you, listen, I didn't ask you for your opinion, but you are saying that your opinion is your opinion and it's good no matter what because what works for you works for you, but I'm going to do what works for me. And you're not dismissing anybody or you're not putting anybody down or doing anything in a negative tone. That's your opinion, but let me do my thing and work it out that way. So I like that.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, you can't because hey man, I'm a parent, right? And as a parent, sometimes you're gonna give advice, especially to your adult children, that they may respect you and love you and everything, but they have to do it their way, and they're going to do it their way, and they're going to be like, "Yo, Pop, you know what? I love you, man. I appreciate you looking out for me, but this is the way I'm going to do it." And what are you going to say as a parent? You're going to say, "Okay, I respect you." You may worry, you may think, "Oh, you're going to see differently," because you're the old wise one, but it doesn't mean you must be right.
Absolutely.
You might be wrong,
but
you have to let them grow and do their own thing. So, so this doesn't apply to like friends or people that care about you in your life or acquaintances. This applies to even down to your parents, right? because
Even
it's still your life, right? You respect your parents, you honor your parents, but you still have to be, your own woman, your own man, and make your own decisions.
I feel you on that. As a parent, I understand, and as a child, I understand too that this whole thing changes. So what worked back in the day definitely does not work today. This world continuously changes, and I have to think about that as well when I interact with my family, when I interact with my children and stuff like that. Like, just because I did it this way don't mean that it's going to work. Because it worked for me, that doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. And I can't push anything off on you, and I can't feel a certain way if you don't make the same decisions that I made. If anything, hell, I don't want you to make the same decisions that I made, but I, you know, I understand where you come from with that. But speaking of which, there is a little bit of something in there when it comes to, parents know best. Sometimes they say that mother knows best, because you come from a woman. So, I'm going to take a little deep. Like sometimes your mother will give you some hints of maybe you shouldn't do this. Maybe you shouldn't go down that path. So, when your mother is speaking to you, sometimes I think you need to listen and sit back and take it
Mm-hmm.
because you come from a woman. So, she had to go through a whole bunch of stuff to bring you here. So, there's going to be some truth behind it some type of way. But you have to do what works for
Oh
you.
yeah, that is true. My friend, my mother's 87, and I love you, mom. If you're listening, I love you so much. You're best mom in the world. And yeah, I mean, she has never steered me wrong.
Mm.
There's times that we disagreed on things, but yeah, when your mom tells you something, um, there's a different level of connection and consciousness, I think, that mothers have with their children.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm not saying fathers don't have
Right.
this special bond too. It's just different when they carry you, and they know you inside out, backwards and forward.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And yeah, I totally feel you, man. So I definitely listen to you. I listen to my wife because she's a smart lady, and she will see things that I don't necessarily see.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's listen to women in your life. The ones that have your best interests at heart, they will rarely if ever steer you wrong. So yeah, I totally agree.
Very good. There you go. PL Stewart. I want to say thank you so much for coming on. And one more time, if you can please let us know where we can go ahead and get your books from.
Get me on Amazon, Amazon.com. Get on Friesen Press, which is my indie publisher website. Want signed copies? Reach out to me through my website, www.plstewart.com, Twitter. So yeah, I so appreciate you, Laren. Thank you so much. It's been a real treat. Come on your show, a real honor. So thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on. Hopefully, we didn't scare you away because we've had a history in the past of scaring lots of authors away. But we've cleaned up a little bit this year, so we've been doing pretty good. I haven't scared anybody away this year. So thank you
for that, man. Nothing but love for you, man. Nothing but respect for the broadcast. This has been great, very insightful, and very interesting conversation. And yeah, it was fantastic. So thank you.
We take it there. We take it there. Real life conversations because, this is life. And, I've learned that, once you open up and you start talking about certain things and you start to get in connection with yourself, you're able to connect with other people on a different level. And by you being an example, you never know what you are going to be able to do and connect and change somebody else. These are the conversations that I wish that I could have missed, in my young days. Maybe I wouldn't have made some of the mistakes that I made, but I guess it played out the way it was supposed to play because now I'm here to be a leader and to help pull somebody else up. So I get it. Everything's predestined and the steps are already ordered. So, we can't complain about anything. We just have to do what it do. So with that being said, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and hopefully you come back in the future.
I would love to. Thank you so much for the invite, and I would love to come back in the future. So, and again, hope to have you on Page Chewing in the future. So,
oh yes, I'm definitely going to check all of that out. We're going to contact after the show and all that good stuff, and we'll make sure that happens.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much, my friend.
Take care. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon.
You too. Take care. All the best.
All
Bye
right.
now.
Take care now. All right, y'all. So there you have it, Mr. P.L. Stewart, all the way from Canada. It's been a minute since we spoke to someone from Canada, and I just want to say thank you for coming on and joining the show. And I also want to say a very special thank you to each and every one of you out there for supporting. And I will tell you that this wine, I'm going to give you my little review on this wine. So we are sipping Valesano Harmony Peach Pinot Grigio. All right. It's a harmonious blend of fresh peaches and Pinot Grigio grapes. Now, I'm going to just keep it real. I taste nothing but peaches. It's a very overpowering thing of peach, and I'm not trying to say anything negative about it. If you like Pinot Grigio wine, you probably will not care for this too much. That's just my opinion. You probably won't care for it too much. If you don't like Pinot Grigio because of the dryness, you'll probably like this because it's going to sweeten things up a bit. It's going to sweeten things. It's going to get real sweet. But for me, I think it's a little too sweet. Because if this was not sweet, on average, I know I asked that question, how many bottles of wine or how many glasses of wine or how long it takes me to finish a bottle during a show. On a good night, we can get halfway through a bottle. We ain't even get there. So this wine is a little bit too sweet. And I think it needs to be real chilled. So if you want this wine, definitely keep it on ice. That'll definitely do you some well with this. Valesano Harmony Peach Pinot Grigio. There you go. 12% alcohol volume. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. Thank you to my special guest. Every single night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do 4-in-1 podcast. On Wednesdays at 8 p.m., we wind down Wednesday right here, reading between the wines. On that note, I want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there. If you would like to support, please go ahead and click the link above all of my social media platforms. And you can go inside of Volume 1.5, the Liberation Remix Journal. That's a 30-day transformational journey towards a healthier mindset. All of the conversations that I have here with my guests, the breakthroughs that we have, is all a result of me changing my mindset and trying to become the master of my own mind. I'm telling you a little bit about my past, telling you a little bit about where I'm at right now here in my world. Remember, we all have our own world going on. You can't compare yours to mine. I can't compare mine to his, hers. You do what works for you. The minute that you put those blinders on and you stop worrying about what somebody's doing over here and you stop worrying about what they're doing over there and you just keep focused on what you have going on and what works best for you, this is my opinion. I believe that you will start to elevate to the next level. Once you stop getting caught up into the extra distractions that have been put there to make you fail. Because this is a game. Why would you make it easy? Why would we make it easy? Because everybody will win. This is hard. This is a battle. This is a struggle. This is what we have to do. And you need to protect what is so important for you. And for me, today, after neglecting myself for so many years, I have to protect myself. I protect me. A 30-day journal towards a healthier mindset. Check it out. Click that link above all of my social media platforms. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4-in-1 podcast. Thank you all. Have a wonderful night. Take care.